4 years ago, I was exactly where you might be, hustling hard for the next promotion. Maybe burnout has become a new kind of normal. You're used to a certain amount of stress level and it feels normal. And success, while it looks really great on the outside and on paper, you're doing really well, inside you aren't feeling really well. It feels like something important is missing, like your health may not be doing that great, or you're longing for more connection with your loved ones, or you're longing for time to travel and really live the life that you always wanted to live. And that was me also 4 years ago. On the outside, it was great, steady income, great brand, but on the inside, I felt really stuck. For me, my dream life looked like working from anywhere, traveling, working from beautiful cafes. More importantly, I wanted to love my work, and that somehow just felt completely out of reach among all of the stuff that would go on at work. And you know what the corporate race is like. But fast forward to today, and I love the life that I have built for myself. I have full control over my time. I didn't get to Europe, but I did get to Bali to do a digital nomadic stint. And the best of all is I love my work and I get to build wealth doing what feels like play. And that is an amazing feeling in the world, to not require someone to fund my idea and to just have full freedom to express myself and make money at the same time. So obviously I changed something. And that's the thing that I want to share with you today. And today we're going to bust the biggest roadblock that gets in the way of you being able to create that life for yourself. And that is how to figure out your monetizable expertise. Yes, it's about monetizing yourself, but what do you monetize about yourself and how do you actually make money? So let's talk a little bit about what really gets in the way of you being able to identify that zone of genius or that monetizable expertise. Now, this is what my experience was, and tell me if you relate. One, I felt like a generalist, like a jack of all trades. So every time that I would try freelancing, I would go on to Upwork and Fiverr and try to build a profile. I found myself feeling really small because everything was a box. It was very specialized. Either you're a writer, or you're a coder, or you're a graphic designer. And I was none of those. I had skills, and yes, I could do stuff, but I didn't know how to articulate that into some kind of profile which would get me hired. And that just started to eat at me. And then I started chasing this idea that maybe if I had more technical skills, if I had hard skills, I could monetize myself and live that lifestyle. There are two things that happen, when you look at upskilling in that way. One, because you're starting out with something new, you know that you're not going to make as much money. It's going to feel like you're starting from scratch. And second is you have to put in the time and effort and money to upskill and learn that new skill enough for someone else to pay you to do that professionally, especially when you have zero experience doing that. And then it leads you to just maybe collecting certifications. I know I've done my fair share of certifications, and every prospect that I speak to is talking about getting a certification in AI or in some other cool thing that is in today. And they think that once they're certified on that, magically they will be able to build a business, or they will be valuable enough that someone will start to pay them, or they will figure out their niche, or they will figure out a business. That's not how it works. That is a classic form of procrastination. And it is the worst kind of procrastination because it makes you feel good while you're procrastinating. You're feeling productive. You're feeling like you're learning something, but you're really, yes, you are learning, but you're really not going forward in the direction of that lifestyle, that business that you really want. And the third thing that I think all of us have tried is we've all had business ideas. We've spent weekends building business plans. We've collaborated with friends and family, and we've kind of done all of that. And none of that has had worked for me. And it hadn't worked for me for almost 4 years. And that's when I have really had it. At this point in time, I think it was post COVID or during that COVID time where all of this stuff, started to bubble up. And I was like, I need to do something about this. Otherwise, I'm going to be stuck in the corporate race all of my life. Is that what I want? And the answer was no. So I decided to do something about it. And I decided to drop this sort of overconfidence or arrogance that I am from one of the best business schools in the country. So somehow I should be able to figure out an answer to this. I decided to sign up for a program that an online blogger was running because he knew something that I didn't. He knew how to start a digital business, how to land customers, and how to make money online. So I put aside my ego and I said, look, I'm going to invest. And I invested $2,000 at the time. It was the best decision that I could have taken because it got me on this path where I live this life today. The biggest takeaway, my friend, from this program was that it is my B school education that is getting in the way. Why do I say that? And I mean all of the respect for the business school education and everything that it has given me so far in life. But at the same time, we were mostly trained to work in large setups. We weren't really taught how to go from 0 to 1. We knew the Porter's forces and we learned about the niche and the marketing and the positioning and everything. But we didn't know how to land a customer. We didn't know how to go pitch somebody. We didn't know how to start an offer from scratch. At least I didn't. And that made all of the difference. So I was making these three classical mistakes. One, I didn't want to start small. I wanted to make sure that whatever idea I had, it had to be scalable and therefore it had to be a product business. But then I never got to that point. I just made it really hard for myself to even start. Second, I kept thinking that maybe I have to upskill and that's when I will have that business. That's not the idea. The idea is to leverage whatever you know today and monetize that. And the third is forget products, just start focusing on service and forget that you're doing this business for yourself and that it's going to give you money and lifestyle. Keep that aside for a while. Instead, think about who can you serve today? What small problem can you serve today? Because the smaller you start and the more specific you start, and the first person that you help, it gets you on the way. It gets you unstuck. So now let's get into the meats and potatoes of how do you actually figure out a monetizable expertise niche for yourself. Here's a hack, and write this down, please. Your ideal client is a previous version of you. You're in the best position to help someone who's exactly 2 steps behind you. So ask yourself, what struggles have you overcome in life? And now I'm going to share another secret. There are 3 mega markets in this world. One, everyone wants to be rich, which means career and finances. Second, everyone wants to be loved, which means relationships. And I don't just mean romantic relationships. It could be parenting advice, it could be conflict handling, it could be workplace relationships. In general, everyone wants to feel loved, everyone wants to feel connected, everyone wants to feel like they belong. Communities is a great way. The third is your health and fitness. Everyone wants to be healthy. If you've had, and I guarantee you, if you made it to your 30s, you've had a journey that you've had to struggle and you've overcome that. I had a bunch of options. Everyone has a bunch of options. I had gone through a divorce. I had overcome hypothyroidism for myself, made a ton of lifestyle changes, become fit from a person who had never exercised in her entire life. When I had started, I think at 30, I started late in life. And that could be a thing. And then all of my life, I'd been curious about how to live a better life. And for me, my early career struggles were the ones where I had put in a lot of effort and I had a lot of the answers. I had pivoted my job twice across industries and functions, which was a rare thing. I understood that. And that's where I started. I started with someone who is a previous version of me, and I started for free, and then I moved from there where I got referrals and then paid clients. And then I started to scale that idea into something which exists today. And when you see my website today, there is nothing recognizable from day zero to now. And that's how it is. Every business evolves. So think of that first idea that you're going to do as a caterpillar, and your eventual business is going to be a butterfly. They are not going to resemble each other, but you just got to get started. And it's possible that you can't think of any personal struggle right now. And that's where I think you can monetize a skill that you have, which is relevant in the corporate world. So you can monetize your corporate experience as well. The secret there is, and again, write this down, your ideal client is a previous version of the company that you work for. Now, let me give you an example. When I started off with this career coaching business, it was hard for me to charge premium prices. I would not have been able to sustain my livelihood doing that at that stage in my life. But I did have 10, 12 years of corporate experience, and I wanted to leverage that to create freedom of time for myself and freedom of location while creating predictable, consistent income. So I ended up doing freelance consulting. And one of the things that I realized is when I started showing up, sharing my expertise in data and analytics, I was found by someone that I had already worked with in my existing network. He was in the middle of growing a boutique data and analytics firm. My experience was a great match for him. I brought in a lot of thinking, problem solving skills, everything that a pedigree B school graduate brings to the table, plus some corporate experience. And you know what I ended up monetizing? It was something so basic. At Genpact and Accenture, we would take all of the ways of working, the governance routines, the contracts, the best practices, frameworks, and processes for granted. I mean, this was day-to-day life. That's how we worked. But that was not the case for these guys. They didn't have the bandwidth to define those processes. They didn't have any of that in place, and they were suffering because of that. So, what I considered extremely basic 101 data analytics delivery knowledge turned out to be gold for these folks, and that's what I ended up monetizing. I just want to check in with you. Have you understood how to identify a niche? The idea is to start something very tiny, something very specific, either a personal struggle within the area of career, finance, health, or relationships, or pick up a monetizable skill, experience that you have from your corporate experience, and start creating case studies out of it or social media posts out of it, and start posting it online, get found, and then start making money from it. So that's the niche part of it. Now let's talk about how you're going to make money from it. The way you make money from it is you create a very small first offer. Now, when you're selecting the niche, be very, very careful. Do not think about, is this scalable? Do not think about the revenue potential and how much you'll price for it today. Because remember, caterpillar, butterfly, it's not going to remain the same anyway. What you do want to focus on are two things, two criteria. One, is this an area that you are sufficiently curious about? Is it something that you actually enjoy doing? Then go for it. The second is it something where you showing up as yourself is enough? That means you don't need another certification. You don't need any more upskilling. You're good to go the way you are. If that criteria is satisfied, then this is a great niche for you. And that's where now you will create the offer. Now, remember, I said that you don't need anything. You don't need a website. You don't need an application. You don't need technology, nothing. You just want to start off letting people know this is something that I'm really good at. This was my experience. I've had learnings and lessons. I would love to share them with you. If this problem resonates with you and you're sick of the solutions that are available out there in the market, I'm here for you. I am offering my time for free or maybe at a minimal price. fill this form up, let's get on a call. That's it. It's a very simple offer where you will show up, listen to the person's pain points, and you will try to solve the problem for them, or you will help them solve that problem. Same thing for a consulting engagement. You will listen to them, you will do a call, understand their pain points, and structure an engagement from there. So that's how you convert it into an offering per se. Okay. Now that you have a person that you help, you have work that you do, comes down to pricing and your monetization strategy so that you can escape. Now, the thing to keep in mind is pricing. You want to work with enough people and you want to co-create that solution into a journey, and a valuable transformation so that you can charge a premium price point so that you can land one or two customers and that replaces your salary. When it comes to freelancing, I highly recommend retainer contracts because that gives you predictability and consistency in your income, and you don't want to spend too much of your time doing business development and worrying about where the next check is going to come from. I hope that this small lesson, this nugget, has been super helpful to you. So, if this has been useful, I invite you to sit down and do this exercise today. And tomorrow we will talk about the next problem. I know that you're going to have some ideas. And as soon as you put some things on paper, you're going to be itching to try something. And then there will be a but doubt that will creep in your head. And that will be, how do I do this along with my full time job? I would love to do this. How do I do this with my full time job? And that's the question that we will answer tomorrow. Meanwhile, you can spend some time dreaming. Imagine if this actually happened. Imagine if you were able to monetize yourself. Imagine if you could replace your salary working 3 days a week. In 30 hours or 20 hours a week, you are making the same amount of money. What would that feel like? What would that extra time mean to you? Where would you travel? Where would you spend that time? What hobbies would you pick up? How much how much would that mean to your spouse, to your kids, and to your loved ones? Wouldn't that be amazing? And now that you can see that it is possible for you, I wonder what stops you. Don't you owe it to yourself to try this at least once? Because what have you really got to lose? Yeah, maybe some time, maybe some money, but it's nothing less than a vacation, which you needed to escape from the corporate grind. Why not invest that vacation time and that vacation money into something like this, which could completely and forever change the trajectory of your life? Wouldn't that be amazing?